So today's a video about air compressors. I had a Campbell Hausfeld 8-gallon oil, and it really can't even power the tools that came with it, like an air wrench. Couldn't take the lug nuts off my truck, and should have been able to. Before that, I had an oilless, and that burnt out. It was a stand-up, like maybe a 5 to 8 gallon. Costco took it back, no problem, and I bought the oil version for like $150 13 years ago. It's worked great. No mods to it. I've changed the oil, put an air filter on it, water separator, however you want to refer to it as. My brother's friend had an air compressor, and he gave it to my brother. My brother gave it to me. He says, "Mario, I got this compressor," and it was oilless, and I thought it was going to be something I didn't want, but it turned out it wasn't so bad. So if you can stand the length of the video, watch it and see how everything turns out, I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Hey guys, today I'm going to be working on this Craftsman 21-gallon single-stage oilless air compressors. I'm not a fan of oilless. I had one before. It was a stand-up Campbell Hausfeld, and it burnt out really quickly. I had bought it at Costco. Luckily, they took it back. I'm going to divert attention to this for a second here. This is a Campbell Hausfeld 8-gallon compressor. It's about 13 years old. Specs aren't anything amazing. Of course it won't focus, but it's basically 4.5 CFM at 40 psi and 3.7 CFM at 90 psi, 1.3 horsepower. This is still made with a slightly different part number, and Home Depot sells it under the Husky brand. It's actually made by Campbell Hausfeld. Lowe's, who I prefer to shop at, actually has something similar, but it's an oilless, and I'm not sure who makes that one. But the reason why I originally bought these compressors, or this compressor, was filling up my tires and blowing out computer equipment. And I was using it to blow out and sandblast, and it could only hold enough pressure for a few seconds. Luckily, it was a really small project, and I was able to do something about it. So I've been looking at compressors, mostly the Cobalt branded Campbell Hausfeld. It was like $450, way more than I want to spend. There's also the Harbor Freight, which is similar specs, for $150, and those always go on sale. Hopefully you get a good one. But my brother said, "Hey, my friend, someone gave him a compressor, and then he gave it to me. Do you want it?" Because he knew I was looking for one. And I saw it was a single stage, more the oilless. I was like, yeah, but then I saw it was 9 CFM. I'm thinking to myself, that'll work pretty well, even for some HVLP spray guns. And it worked. There was nothing I needed to do to it. But when I came to the side of it, I noticed I took this off. It's two Torx 15 bolts right there. Is the muffler, or not the muffler, the air filter, like on the Campbell Hausfeld, just screw on. This one, no such luck. You actually have to take the head off of this and to install a new one. Before I had ordered them online, I looked, and it wasn't really apparent to me. I think what happened was whoever loaded and unloaded this from a truck, they picked it up by the housing, and it broke it off. So I just got a screwdriver, and I pried out the old one, but then I realized that when I did some reading, you actually have to take this apart in order to replace it. I'm like, either the guy who designed this is an idiot, or he was brilliant because he wanted you to throw this away or bring it into repair. But the part was $6, and it was 2 for $8, so I bought 2 just in case I did something stupid. And then also on here you will see this little hole, this little trim ring. That's where the gasket would go, but in order to get the foam gasket, I had to buy that as well. So $22 later, here I am. So today I am actually going to try to replace this. I'm also going to do a sound level check between the single stage oilless and my oil one. Unfortunately, I can't find my sound meter. It's like 30 years old and I misplaced it, so I'm going to just use my phone. I don't know how accurate it is. So here we go. On tripod here, and we're going to get started. My videos tend to go a little long, so I'm going to apologize now. But anybody who's watched a few videos, I know what this is. going to put on some gloves. And I actually use these Harbor Freight gloves, 5 mil. And I was just buying them saying I needed some, but I tell you, they last. And these are the thin ones, and I've able to put them back and reuse them. So if I'm working on multiple coats of paint, usually the painter's ones dissolve or whatever. Petits are actually good. I got them on sale. It was like $4 or $5, and then a coupon. So start that. Things I'm going to need for this again was the T15 Torx that I just took off. That rear cover. I did that in advance so I could see what I was up against, and also I believe it's a 3/8 inch drive to take this head off. I'm hoping when I take the head off that the O-ring that's there, that's probably 20 plus years old, does not tear. Because if it tears, the project is delayed, and it's another $13. And there's two of them, one under the head here, and then there's another one right here at like a mid plate that have all the I don't know what you want to call it, the valving to separate the intake and exhaust stroke, if you will. So first things first is I got my 3/8 inch ratchet, and it looks like you'll be able to see that. I put WD-40 on this a couple of days ago when I ordered the parts to help it penetrate. These bolts have to be socked in at 7 pounds, and both my torque wrenches are, one's a ratcheting type, a clicking type, which minimum is 50, and my other one is needle, which is perfect. Unfortunately, it's a 1/2 inch drive, and I don't know where my 1/2 to 3/4 adapter is. I have a 3/8 inch torque wrench, but it's somewhere at my parents' house, I believe. So I kind of did an experiment with the 1/2 inch torque wrench, holding it in hand and pulling it to 5 pounds. So I'm going to just do it by feel, and I hope that's good enough. I'm also going to keep these bolts where they came out from, but just in case. I know there shouldn't be a difference, but any little funny things that happen along the way. If the bolt matters for some reason or another, well, they're here. It's not like they're torque to yield bolts, so I don't have to replace the bolts. One other thing is I got to grab that I didn't do is the anti-seize. I'm going to put a little bit on there, even though this won't be outside. Now, as I started loosening this, the gaskets, the head started to move, so that's a good sign. I'm also going to take out, you probably can't see it on camera, but there's a screw, another Torx T15 screw, which is eluding me at the moment. Just to kind of get this cover off so you can see what's going on. Now, looking at this, there's also an attached tube here. I really don't want to take that out, to be honest with you. And there's the gasket coming out, which is exactly what I didn't want to have happen. And actually, you have to put it on from the top. So I am going to have to remove this cover. It's going to beat the hell out of me. Feels like it might be a little strict, but there we go. Another nice thing about this compressor is it's 110, but it can be wired for 220. So if I ever decide to have my electrician here, I can have him do that. Now, there is a bolt here. Not sure I want to loosen it. That might cause me more trouble than it's worth. So I'm just going to lift this up a little bit, see what I can get away with. And you really can't tell, but this little piece right here, I don't know if you can see that, goes underneath the head, and it locks it in place. So I assume bear with me. I think I'm going to end up having to take that out. This is where my videos get long, and I think people are going to curse me out. There we go. I think that's what happens here. Okay, yeah, that's it. So this curve goes towards the top, and this just slides in here, like so. And then this kind of bolts right on top. Unfortunately, I don't know if the gasket's lining up, and it's fell off. So I think I am going to have to loosen this bolt. I know I've heard people say this gasket doesn't stick, and they use silicone or something to hold it in place. And this gasket looks like it did stretch a little bit when I pulled it off. And I might be stuck buying another gasket, and which means I'll cut this video short, order the gasket, and pick this up again. I'm going to pause the camera for just a second, and I will be right back. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to unbolt the head, and that's looks like it's a 5/8 wrench. And again, I'm hoping you can see this. I don't want to chance screwing something up, but boy, is that on there tight. The last thing I want to do is strip that out, so I can't find the lithium grease, so against my better judgment, I'm just going to put a couple of dabs of anti-seize to kind of try to hold it in place. I don't know if that's really a good idea, but if it becomes a problem, I can wipe it off. But I have a feeling I'm going to be replacing this gasket. So that's on there. Wipe my hands. Already sweating like a pig. And let's see what we got here. I should have known that this gasket was going to stretch. And I really want to avoid buying a new one. It's not just the $13, it's the wait time. So looks like it's stretched up in this top part, which is where it got stuck. So I think what I'm going to do, worst case scenario, it leaks and I got to replace it anyway, is I'm going to pull another dollop of anti-seize there. To help keep it in place. I'm going to turn it upside down, bolt it. Like I said, if it is a problem, I just have to order a new gasket. Like I said, I also hope to avoid spending the money, because there's also another gasket underneath here. You can order just one, but I'm guessing I'll end up getting myself in trouble if I just do that. So I'm going to put this flash down here. That looked like it went in okay. I'm going to start to grab the bolts here. And I know I got to put some anti-seize on them too, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to sock one of these down, not tight, just snug, so that I can get the anti-seize on the other bolt, and then I'll pull this back out. Okay. Again, I don't think the anti-seize is necessary, but it's not going to hurt, as far as I know. As long as it doesn't get into any of the moving parts. Glove's a little slippery. Makes me wish I had one of those. It's like a little knob with a 3/8 inch square end, so you can get a good grip on it as you go. I'm gonna just put these in one at a time, and like I said, I'll take that other one back out. Anybody who's watched my videos knows that I keep talking, more of a blog style than a repair style. Some may like the style, some not, but kind of what I do to keep my mind occupied while I work on this. Wearing my work clothes. Hopefully I don't get any of this stuff on me. It's a good way to want to put all a pair of pants. Okay, now again I'm going to take out the first bolt I put on and do the anti-seize on that. I did fire this up. My brother who got it also fired it up. It worked fine. One of the other things that was wrong with it, the power cord was pulled out of the side of it a little bit, and originally my brother said, yeah, just throw a zip tie on it, but as I pulled the power cap off back here, I found that it actually has a strain relief, was movable, and that's when I really started paying attention to the fact that, hey, this is also a 220. 220 is always better if you can do it. This is a 4 horsepower Craftsman, which I was kind of surprised for a 115 volt. Usually I see 2.5. I've never seen more than that, but you know, it does draw, I think, just over 15 amps at max. I do have a dedicated 15 amp circuit that I can use for this when I gotta use it. I'd hate to draw out an extension cord, but there's one right at the breaker panel. So this is on. And when I did the test, what I'm going to do is just 7 psi. I'm just going to hold it here and kind of sock it, just go corner to corner, and eventually when I can dig up the torque wrench, I'll torque them to proper spec, and hopefully this doesn't leak. I can tell as I'm tightening them, this back corner here, I can always tighten it a little more. Makes me think that the gasket might be doing something funny, but that is now it. Normally I power it up, but it'd be kind of silly of me to put my hands anywhere near this flywheel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the back cover back on, safety first. Originally I thought these were T15 security torques. When I looked in the hole, that's what it looked like. So I was like, I don't have security. So without even trying to dig up my old torques, because I couldn't find them, they were Exolite torques from the 80s. Very good quality. I couldn't find them. They weren't in the box I left them in. You know, you lend things out sometimes and you never get them back. So I'm going to screw this in. Now I started to say the torques, T15, it holds its back cover on. The filter alone was like $13. It's just a foam filter. It's washable. The guy I was talking to, he says, yeah, I got one of those too. He says it's great because you can wash it with solvents, which you can't do that with regular paper or whatever. Kind of a shame it's a $13 little piece of foam though, you know. And so it feels like, I know this is built well, but I feel like everything's a throwaway these days. So I guess I should probably put on the front. If I'm going to do it, I might as well do it right. Now this cover was snapped all apart, and I think it was because whoever pulled it apart, I loaded it originally, pulled it up by the cover. Also, I don't remember if I said at the beginning of the video, someone must have banged this on the back because the drain valve was bent, and so I picked up a new one. The little, you know, has wings on it. That's what you want to call it. And the wings were bent down and don't spin, so I'll have to use a knife to, pliers to bend that back. It wasn't expensive. I picked one up at Harbor Freight for like $3, and of course I always have one of those 20% coupons. Those are always a good deal. And of course it doesn't save you a ton, but better in my pocket than their pocket. And because I plug Harbor Freight. Every week I usually get one somehow or another. And this screw isn't going in. It's probably going to end up falling out at some point. I'm going to plug this in. Now this is a 15 amp circuit, so you do want a heavy duty power cord. It just so happens I have this. It's like a real nice heavy duty electrician friend of mine made them. And then he no longer needed them. I got to have them. So I'm going to plug this into a dedicated circuit because I might power on the other compressor. So stand by while I walk over there and plug it in. Now this was holding pressure, so when I go to blow this up, hopefully it'll continue to hold pressure. So we are going to move the camera angle. I should actually put in the air filter. Now what's the point of buying it if the first thing that's going to happen is get contaminated? If I had known it was what it was, I would have probably just retrofitted something on there. But my hands are all wet from gloves, sweating. And this is the filter. Nothing out of the ordinary, except costing a fortune. I'm going to stick that in the side. And just to show you, that's where it goes in. It just pokes in the side there. Might also help quite dampen the noise. And this is, God knows what this is for. I don't see any point to it. If it's going to fall out, it's going to fall out. So there's going to be some noise in a second. I am going to put my meter, my phone, which has download just whatever program to do DV ratings. Now it's not going to be good as my regular one, but it's better than nothing. So I am going to now grab my phone and power this thing up in just a second, and then grab the phone just to go closer. And the camera in hand, so you will still see some shaking. I apologize about that. Now is what it is. There is some air in there right now. I had timed it and it took 3.5 minutes, so when I let some more of the air out, actually do it the hard way. I'm just going to get one of these. This is an industrial plug. Notice how the center is risen. When you buy the automotive style, it's the opposite. The front and back piece are level here, and then it's got like a scalloped inside. You'll see that this is a Sears model number 911.152921, and it's pretty old. It's, you know, these old Sears compressors. My father has one of the two-stage, 2-pump powers, or some of you may have heard of. The screen's a little dirty, so you can't see it, and it's quite the soft. Definitely going a lot there. Alright, let's pull up that. Now let's see what happens. I'm going to start the dB noise meter here, and you can't see it, can you? 25%. 125. All right, let's kick it on. Now, my other compressor's in the garage, so you might get some, might be louder, but I don't feel like pulling it out. But I am going to start this beast up. 13 years old now. That was 78 as well. So I'm going to see if this thing cranks up to 125 psi. It does. I got myself a new compressor for $20 after repairing it. So what I'm going to do actually is I am going to drain this, start the timer, and see if it still takes 3.5 minutes. If it takes a lot longer, I will know that that seal needs to be replaced. I'm not going to let you stay on here for 3.5 minutes. I'm going to start it, and as it reaches the end, I will show you. Stand by. So while the tank is draining, I'm actually going to replace this. I actually signed off the video and said I was going to replace this later, but I'm going to do that now. And it's kind of bent pretty good. Let's see if I can just wrench it off. I gotta be careful because this could spit all sorts of sludge on me. And this doesn't appear to be big enough, or it could just be those wings are in the way. There we go. Should have grabbed my bigger wrenches I should say, but I didn't. I'm not going to be able to do what I was hoping to do here. Might have to grab the bigger wrench. This might be actually a metric, so I'm going to go grab my metric set. Okay, apparently it's not metric. It is standard, but it's all banged up, so I got a couple of things to help core, if possible. Yeah, that's, wow. Okay, but it's coming out. I'm going to stand aside because I know I have the valve open. There shouldn't be any pressure, but nothing nastier than, well, there are, than having air and water and sludge up on you. If that wrench didn't work, I would have been using this pipe wrench. This is a Cobalt. I think it was on clearance. I don't remember how much I paid for it. I'm big with clearance items. I always go to Lowe's when time allows. As I mentioned, I picked up this valve here for $3 less the coupon at Harbor Freight. And geez, these things just don't like to focus. Anyway, you're not going to see it. So, anyway, the tape, as I had mentioned, I bought like a 10-pack because I can never find these when I need them. And basically, I just look at it as you wrap it around in the way you would be tightening a bolt if it's a standard thread. That way, it won't come off. So, I'm going to wrap a few threads around there. I actually have some pipe dope too I could put on it, but I'm not going to do that. And the right size wrench for this one is 9/16. So probably some debris in there. Again, this valve probably got broken unloading it from the vehicle, or you know, who knows. I hear these break pretty easily because it's just too bent over tangs. Well, the Harbor Freight one, I've looked at some of the ones at Home Depot and those sell some stock, and people complain about those as well. So I'm just gonna slap this down tight, and the valve was already closed, but now it's hand tight, and that'll work. And check this back up right. Plug it all back in. My camera settings kept changing because I sweat like a pig, and the camera LCD was leaning against my shirt, and my shirt was wet, and it kept pressing all the buttons on me. So hopefully nothing was lost. I'm going to start to build the pressure up on this. Once that's done, I turn it off, make sure nothing is shut off. If it does, I'll just buy a quarter. I'll buy a 1/4-inch street elbow, male to female, and then a 1/4 turn shut off valve. So let's see what happens. Okay, I don't hear it leaking or something. Not that I would hear. I think it's over again a couple days later. I had already shot the end of this video. I decided to add in the replacement of that valve. It's not a big deal. But again, now we'll proceed to the end of the video. Thanks. 3 minutes 26 seconds. So the fill time is the same. Now it's a question of whether it's going to leak or not, because I did spin that top tube. I didn't remove it. I don't know if this is going to show well. This doesn't do a good job focusing, but it's at about 125 exactly, actually. And the way this one works, I was fighting with this to change the pressure, and it wouldn't turn, and I'm grabbing my wrench and then realized that you're supposed to pull it up and then turn it. This is the new valve I got at Harbor Freight, and I can never seem to find my pipe tape when I find it. When I was at Harbor Freight, I went to pick it up. It was 1 for 79 cents or 10 for $2. Granted, the lengths were different, but now I can have them all over the place because, you know, I have a couple in my soldering plumbing soldering box and so forth. So this will be the next thing to replace. I gotta let the air back out to do it, but this once I do replace that valve, which I hear these valves are prone to leaking, but I hear they all are, I might just put a 1/4 turn on there. There seems to be enough room underneath to do that. I'll see if this thing leaks. Anyway, again, this is a Sears 919-152-921. Specs right here, which is pretty good. 9 CFM at 47. This should do all my needs, and it's not really that loud. It's just now it's obviously bigger than my old one, so that's going to cause me some little issues here. Again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Constructive criticism is always welcome, and thanks for coming back. We'll see you later. Until the next one. Bye.